Hello and welcome back to the cronecast at the Rising Moon. My name is Elaine, and on this channel I do the Spirit Guide Monthly live every last Friday of the month. I hope you're able to join me. But I also do this, I do pick a card readings, and today I have a love reading. It's about self-love and how to love yourself first and what is coming up in romance. So it's a twofold reading. We're going to look at what you need to heal, how you can experience more self-love, and then we're going to get some messages about what's coming up in romance for you. So this is a full spectrum love reading. There are 4 piles in a pick a card presentation. There's going to be an insert in a moment that allows you to kind of concentrate, see which one calls out to you. That is the message that you are most meant to receive. I will see you at the time of your reading. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 1, then this is your reading. This is the full spectrum love reading. How do you experience more self-love? Anything that you need to heal from past trauma, and what's coming up in love. Those are the 3 areas that we are covering. The traditional Magna deck is bringing you a predictive spread. Let's get started with your archetype cards, which are about what you need to heal first. These are going to be about self-love and self-care. This is an affirmations deck. We're going to look into all the different energies. Let's see what you're working on with your archetypes. I have Fool. Fearlessly revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. That's the light attribute. But the shadow attributes are the parts of our personality that form from trauma. We don't need to eradicate them. We do need to understand them and to heal them in order to control them. The shadow attribute is using humor to wound rather than liberate, denial of your emotional truth. The other thing is that some people use humor as a way of deflection. So sometimes people are in a lot of pain. They're all saying that comics are actually the people who are the most depressed. They're simply using comedy as kind of a coping mechanism. And then I have Bully. Light attributes. Highlights your tendency to intimidate others. Helps you confront the inner fear that bullies you. And then shadow attribute is conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. This is the thing that I think you're coming out of, which is an energy in which you felt very repressed around your emotions. The way that we learn to sublimate our feelings is when we're not safe showing them. And it's usually something that comes from childhood. Oh, hey, before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It does help my channel. If you like the reading, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that at the very top. What we're talking about here, though, is that how do we learn unhealthy emotional repression? And that is usually through a formative experience in which our feelings were invalidated, usually in a childhood setting. It can be by schoolyard bullying. It can be by an abusive atmosphere within a home. Remember, everybody is trying to overcome something. Even if you've had a very, very positive childhood experience, likely you are carrying forward this shadow aspect of yourself, which is a protective part of you that was formed as a defensive posture. So what you're trying to move from is this energy where you're able to kind of sublimate your feelings and put a veneer over them, sometimes of not caring very much, sometimes of being very shielded, sometimes of being very defensive around people trying to connect with you. And then the Fool is kind of overcoming fears. Most of our fears around intimacy, again, are formative issues. They can be healed. Quite frequently, they will result in something called codependency. Codependency is very, very common. It's not a character flaw, and it can be healed. And it simply is about kind of missing a building block in your foundation, in your emotional foundation, in which you are constantly looking to somebody else to validate you rather than believing in your ability to be worthy, to be lovable. It's just self-talk helps with that tremendously. Reprogramming your inner dialogue is incredibly important in healing. Then I have listening. If you want to be heard, learn to listen. Taking a perspective where you look at one of the things that can be most healing, particularly when you're dealing with formative wounds from childhood or formative experiences, is to try and take a greater perspective on the person or people who may have hurt you. And it's not necessarily about forgiveness in the I understand and it doesn't matter, but rather to understand that it was never really about you. Everything that people do is really about them first. And so if somebody, even a punishing caretaker, was taking something out on you, they were taking their pain out on you versus you causing them pain and them reacting. And it's a very important distinction to make because it allows us to release the treatment that we received, understanding that it was about the other person's injury versus an action that we were bringing upon ourselves. All right, and then we have sensitivity and strength, tapping the forces within. The problem with this bully energy, which is that defensive energy where you're like you throw barbs in order to protect yourself, you don't let get people too close, is that it kind of blocks you from your full emotional world and your full connection to your higher self. So tapping forces within with sensitivity and strength, remember you can feel your feelings, you can express your feelings, you just need to understand them first. The responding, not reacting, comes from healing so that you can say, oh, I'm angry about this or I'm upset about that. Here's the origin of it. I understand it. I kind of acknowledge it, but I don't need to react to it. So you can kind of have these feelings flowing as this undercurrent that you're observing, but they pass you by as you understand them more and more. As that comes around, then tapping the forces within connects you with your highest self. When you're connected with your highest self, that is when you're able to attract your divine partner and to find the love that you want in a romantic capacity, but also your soul tribe. Because not everybody is really focused on romance. It's a nice aspect of life, but there's more to love than just romance. And when we are connected with our divine selves, then we are able to bring the people who are meant to be part of our energy, meant to be part of our lives towards us. Make no judgments. This is that understanding of where somebody is coming from. When we judge somebody else's behavior, we're failing to understand it. And remember, we really are one. We have something in common with absolutely everybody that we meet. And we have to remember that most people are acting from a place of protection of their own pain, and they were not the origin story of their own wounds. Now, sometimes people are just flat out evil. It just does happen. But in most instances, people with unresolved trauma and pain are the people who are doing the wounding. When you understand that it is about somebody flailing around because they're in pain, it kind of takes the onus off of you to make corrections within. You're not broken, you're just injured. And if somebody else did the injuring, often understanding with the make no judgments energy what might have caused that is one of the things that can free you. And I'm always talking about my own backstory, which is a little bit hideous, but I also had wonderful things happen to me. But one of the things that helped is looking at the generational trauma that likely formed the abusive treatment that I received in my own childhood. All right, here we go. We've got stillness. Meditation can be very difficult for trauma survivors, but you're being advised to do that, to tap into your inner resources, to tap into your Fool energy. The Fool is brand new and a leap of faith energy as well. It has a connection to the divine. When we are in our Fool energy, we are beginning again. We have faith that the universe has our back and flows through us. And then we have the Gardener. You're all in a process here of continuing to resolve treatment from likely formative wounds, but you're making really good progress with this. My sense is you've left this bully energy behind, and it may have been that you were bullied. Empaths are very, very sensitive people and have a tendency to attract a lot of bullying in their formative years because we react. We feel things and react, and so bullies identify that, and why, again, they're just taking their pain out on other people. Here's the affirmations deck, which is telling you how to achieve more self-love. My critic. I am my own critic through this. Though this is not innately a bad thing, I will strive to be kinder to myself and graciously accept my own constructive feedback. This will allow continued growth in all aspects of my life. Hey, listen, one of the things I tell my clients, and it's very helpful, is every time you find yourself being hypercritical of yourself, that is a programmed response from the voices you heard around you as you were being formed. You need to rewrite that. And it isn't just about telling yourself you're grand, you're wonderful, you're lovable, you're exactly as you're meant to be, and you are enough as you are. Those are all important things, but when you are willing to be accountable and understanding of your own past mistakes, that's another way of being self-loving, because you don't judge yourself or punish yourself for having made mistakes in the past or making them in the present. You learn how to heal the wounds that cause these reactions. And with my critic, one of the first steps towards self-love is every time you find yourself saying something hypercritical of yourself, go back and say at least 3 things that are positive. So if you think I'm very impatient, then you might want to examine why that is. It could be because you're always seeking safety, because you were not made to feel safe as a small person or even as an older person. And to understand that, to forgive yourself for being reactive in an unsafe situation that is no longer there, and you go back and you also say, well, I can be sometimes impatient, but I'm working on that. I made great progress and I feel really good about that. You're doing a great job. And that's how you start reprogramming your inner critic to be your biggest cheerleader. And that's a great big thing in self-love. When we know that we deserve love, then that is when we are likely to attract love. I have equal parts. Water seeks its own level. Therefore, I attract those who can meet me where I am on my journey. My interpersonal relationships are mirrors in my own self, so I strive to put my best self into the universe so that I shall find the others who seek growth. Like energy attracts like energy. This is the point of a healing journey, and this is what readers and psychics and healers mean when they say you have to love yourself first. It is not that you're doing something wrong, but rather to receive the love that you truly deserve. You have to be in that energy. You have to be loving of self, accepting of self, appreciative of self, like yourself. Find the things that you like. And it's not about pretending the things that because we're all working on things. It's not about pretending the things that you wish to improve upon aren't there, but rather keeping them in a balanced state, understanding that we are a work in progress throughout the course of our lives. Love yourself for your perseverance, your efforts. The more that you lean into admiring self, the more others will admire you, and that's when you attract like energy. And then I have productivity. My worth is not based on my productivity, and it never has been. I do not need to take actions to prove that I belong. All babies are worthy, and they cannot, in truth, care for themselves. We all came into this world worthy without production. You don't have to earn your place in this world. Responsibility is wonderful and it keeps the wolf from the door, but that is not what determines your worth. You have unquestionable divine worth. And anything that happened to you when you were small was not about your worth, but again, about the pain of the people around you. The important part to find is your innate divine worth, understanding that any aspect inside of you or in your exterior is purposeful. The divine does not make mistakes. Do not think that because you have received harsh treatment or unkind treatment or unfeeling treatment, that has to do with your worth. Again, it has to do with the pain of the people around you. And when you start understanding that, even when somebody tries to hurt you, it doesn't land because you know it's not really about you. Give yourself permission to be a work in progress throughout the course of your life, and make sure you live life in a work-life balance so that you are taking time. It's easy to attract more love when you love life. All right, let's get going with some tarot cards here. We're going to move now to what's coming up in love. What's coming up in love for pile number 1? This is all that you're working on for self-care and for healing. And now we're doing a what's coming up in love. Here we go. What's coming up in love for pile number 1? Let's go. I love the artwork on this. I find it's anime inspired, but it's so gentle and kind and has the exact right spirit for love readings. I don't really use this deck for general reading. I didn't find that it dealt well with things like business, but my gosh, it's good at love readings. I'm going to take this too. I didn't mean to leave that behind. Here we go. Yes, the sun in the upright is healing. That's a new growth season as well. It's a fertile time, a time of new beginnings. 2 swords in reverse is facing the truth with clarity and conviction. As you heal, as you see yourself as you truly are, deserving of love, we're all a work in progress, and we'll be improving throughout the course of our lives. We're here to learn lessons, and that means that we continue to progress. But it's not just about learning lessons. It's about celebrating life. It's about loving life, and it's about accepting and loving self. then things come into reality. The choices, in the upright, this is a card of multiple choices, having so much available to you and being a little confused sometimes about what the right thing to choose is. In reverse like that, it is beginning to have a lot of clarity around being able to make the choices that will serve you the best. Death card in the upright is a Scorpio card. It can also be a new beginning card. I have that with the Knight of Cups in reverse. For me, that's a card of self-love. I have it with the Queen of Wands in reverse. I have the Five of Wands in reverse as well. And then I have the Empress in reverse, and I'm going to take one more on that, the Moon in the upright. Okay, so there's a likely relationship coming up potentially with a water sign, but you're not going to get a ton of information about the specifics of the person at this particular time because you're still on a little bit of a healing journey, trying to embrace your love of life. As you become more peaceful, as you become more celebratory of love, then you will be able to accept more love into your life and be able to experience more love in your life. What I have coming up in love, we're going to take some, where did I just put this deck? Messages of Love cards as well, is you're still on a journey for healing. There's a possible relationship with a Scorpio or a person coming back into your life. It's general reading, so it can't hold true for everybody. But what it's waiting on is a full healing. The Moon card conceals things. And why would details be concealed? Quite frequently when people are healing from trauma and that codependent thing, they have a compulsive need to know what's coming up to try and complete their lives. And so part of your healing journey may be that you are getting fewer and fewer details around the specifics of your love life. That's actually a really good thing, even if it's hard to believe that. Listening. If you want to be heard, learn to listen. That really is taking the viewpoint of like understanding where somebody else is coming from. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Denial. Detach with love to clearly see the truth. Self-care. Clear your energy field and focus on yourself before acting. Play hard, find time to laugh, goof off, and enjoy each other. That's that work-life balance. And forgiveness are the cards that are coming out with weight. So pile number 1, this is not going to be the most popular message. It's not quite time to launch on a new relationship for you because you are continuing to heal potentially from a fair amount of trauma. It is not a punishment to be asked to be by yourself for a while. It's just not. It gives you the best chance at having real love in your future. And that stillness energy is if you're being held in a form of stasis, in a time of like, no, it's time to focus on self. People get agitated around that. And if that's the reaction you have, then that is a clear sign that there's still something to heal. It should never be a punishment to hang out with yourself because you genuinely are. If you want somebody else to love you, you need to love you, which means loving spending time with yourself as well. Let's go for the Infinity deck to get any more answers on this. Here's what it looks like, is that even though like you probably are pretty invested in this particular word, you are still struggling with self-love, self-care, treating yourself appropriately. Trauma victims in particular have a tendency to reserve good things for other people. Like they will give and give trying to earn being loved. You don't need to earn being loved. You are lovable. I have fear and anxiety, spiritual protection. This is that energy of stillness as well and trying to connect. Vivid dreams, busy and distracted. And then I have divine masculine. You do have a divine pairing that is trying to come into your life, but there is still healing that needs to come to you first. And again, I know that's not what people want to hear in a love reading. They want to hear that the love of their life is 2 weeks away. If it's so important to you that it is distressing to hear that it's not imminent, again, that is a sign of something to heal. And I really, really speak from experience. And by the way, once you're healed, you're kind of chill about it. You're like, yeah, it'll happen when it's meant to happen. And that's a good sign of being healed as well, is you don't have that sense of urgency. You don't feel like something is missing because you feel whole within. Let's get some higher love oracle cards as well. Here we go. What else do we need to know for pile number 1? Pile number 1, you're still a work in progress. Keep leaning in on healing the trauma of old, understanding that you have true worth. You have never been denied anything, but if you've had unsatisfying relationships, it is because of that like energy attracting like energy. We have wishful thinking. I think you get caught in your head and you have trouble facing some things about the nature of relationships in your life. Transformation, reassessment, leave the past behind. Boy, these are all. Forgiveness is one of the most difficult energies to achieve because forgiveness seems like saying that horrible thing that you did to me was okay. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is saying, I release this energetic debt on my scale. I will not allow it to impact how I view myself, how I view others, how I view the world. I forgive what you did because I deserve to be free. And then soulmate. All right, well, you're still working on moving past the past energies. And if this does not describe you, if you're not still on your healing journey, could be that it's not your pile. But this is not a bad pile. It says that it's giving you all of the tools to be able to complete the healing journey so that you can embark on your next romantic one. We're going to get some island wellness cards. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, here we go. Talking, interested in conversing more, awaited messages arrive, text, call, email, hovering, mirror, mirroring each other, self-images, relationships reflect our wounds. We've had that twice in this, and then palm tree. Stability, security, permanence, growth, endurance, and flexibility. What you really want to do is simply try and inhabit the energy of connecting with the divine so that you can connect to your divine path, to your divine self. One of the things that you're being asked to do is sleep meditations because anxious people, because you've got the fear and anxiety energy as well, have trouble sometimes meditating because our anxiety and our fear blocks it out. So one of the ways to circumvent that problem is to do sleep meditations because our conscious mind can't block out things and subconscious impulses are implanted in our sleep that lead us towards more healing. One of the things that can happen when we're on a healing journey is becoming focused on somebody who is kind of a repeating scenario in our lives, to examine it, to see the ways in which, well, how is that person not worthy of me? One of the quotes that I read recently was, the person I thought you were and the person that you are have never met. And it is that the version that you hold of somebody in your mind is the story that you are telling yourself about them. Make sure that what you think about somebody is in your life, or somebody that you have feelings for, make sure it matches up with their actions. And if you are excusing away poor treatment like no contact, ignoring you, trying to rebuff you, then remember that is not the treatment that you are worthy of. And that is the type of relationship that you would wish to release in order to have the love that you truly deserve. I really like these as well. Remember, program your inner voice as much as you can to be self-accepting, self-loving. And that is, again, not saying I am perfect as I am, but that I love me as I am. And I know that I make improvements every single day. And if I have something to work on, then that's the lesson that I chose to learn in this lifetime, and I will lean in on it. Pile number 1, what's coming up for you in love for about that? I'm going to go with about the next 4 or 5 months. And again, not popular, but I like to read the cards honestly, not aspirationally, is that you're still on a little bit of a healing journey, learning to embrace the joy of life and loving your existence, rather than trying to share it with a partner. You're trying to share love and joy with yourself still. You're still trying to kind of get the faith back in your life about what you deserve. There's a bit of a paused energy around this. Please remember that if you're being held in stasis in order to heal, that is actually a sign that you are deeply loved and deeply valued by the divine, because they care enough about you to keep you from having relationships that are not worthy of you. And it can be a hard thing to accept. And again, the more we want to push back against that, that is simply a sign of how much we need to heal. And it happens to everybody. I had to heal from codependency by the time I was healed, I was kind of like, I'm not really sure where relationships fit in my life. That's a very healthy place to be, because it means that I'm not just going to be like, oh, hey, you have interest in me, I should try and have interest in you. I'm really going to evaluate anybody who comes into my life as to whether or not they have a place in my life. Let's go for cookie cards here to close this out. Pile number 1, your healing journey continues. You're being given more and more information about how to examine the wounds within so that you can have the best results without. Perseverance, you may feel like you're getting nowhere, but your hard work will pay off. There are wonderful things ahead. Don't give up. Personal riches, it may be that you're also being asked to concentrate on providing your own earthly security. And then twists and turns with friendship. Another thing about a healing journey is we cannot put all of our expectations on one person. When people tell me their partner is their best friend, it's like, well, I hope you have another best friend, because that's a lot of weight to put on a romantic relationship. We need to be able to have support from multiple areas, to give it and to receive it from multiple areas. It's great to be super connected to your partner, but it is important to have passions, pursuits, friendships, and interests that are separate from your partner. And that's part of this journey of discovering self and healing self, so that you have a very firm idea of self and a very firm foundation in self, so that no one who comes along could ever truly challenge your ability to be happy in this world, or to know what you truly deserve. You are never handing your worth to somebody and saying, if you love me, then I have worth. You're saying, I have worth, and currently I love you. And if you are treating me properly, and I'm receiving the love that I'm meant to receive, as well as giving it, then this journey continues. But if it does not, I love me and respect me enough to show you the door. And that is the stuff that you're still trying to have take root and grow within you. Pile number 1, keep you on your healing journey. You're getting closer and closer. If it helps to know, this is a short journey. I'm not a long haul reader. This will have been a 6-month window at most. Take care. Be well. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello, welcome back. If you chose pile number 2, then this is your reading. We're putting the number over there. Anybody joining me in progress will hopefully be able to find the pile very easily. Although the timestamps are always in the description box down below. Sun and Moon Tarot bringing us some predictive cards around what may be coming up in love. But we're starting out with healing journeys, how to have more self-love, any unresolved issues, and we're going to take a look at what's coming up in love. And remember, this is not truly a like, hey, what romance is coming towards me, but rather, how can I get the love that I want? So those are the 3 areas that we're checking on. What still needs to be healed, how to practice more self-love, because when you love yourself appropriately, that is when you will find love, and what's coming up in love for you. Let's get going with let's check on the focus on success. It might be a time for you to focus on your earthly stability, or it also could be about giving yourself accolades for all of the accomplishments that you don't just measure your life by what isn't in it. Make sure that you're looking at your life for what is already abundant, what is already good, what you would like to increase. That is one of the ways that we increase self-love. But it is also potentially saying with pile number 2 that one of the things that's going to be important for you in a healthy, loving relationship is to make sure that you have the self-reliance of your own purpose, potentially your own profession. It is actually very important in all relationships to try and make sure that you have your own financial security. Now, sometimes when people are raising children within a marital relationship or within a committed relationship, then that, you strike an agreement where the other person is being the supporting partner, but it needs to start out in a way where you've already got a relationship where you've established an equal power balance. I have thought vibrations, resonant choices, and signature signals. Remember, we live in the energy that we create. So if you are enjoying your life, if you are loving your life, if you are experiencing all the joy of existence, that is the energy that begins to return to you. Then I have thriving. This really looks like it is more about your own personal journey and that you've made great progress already. It looks like you are succeeding. It looks like you are living in the resonant energy that you need to already. I have that morning dew girl, which is the beginning of something new. We'll see where this is going. I'm going to check these are the self-care cards. Vulnerability. Showing vulnerability is a sign of strength. So in healing journeys, we become very self-protective, and sometimes we kind of ward off connection. That is a stage in healing called extreme independence. And it is a choice to allow others in, knowing that as you are different, you will have different results. If you've been laid low or injured in the past, that is because you had unhealed trauma and unhealed versions and visions of self. And as you become stronger, quite frequently we do approach the world with like a short sword and a shield. But as you are healed, you will be able to drop both of those, knowing that you will be able to spot those who do not deserve to be in your life and to repel them easily and gently without disrupting your own energy. Our shadow attributes, our shadow self is the part of our personality that was formed in trauma. It's not about eradicating it, it's about understanding its origin and working with it to our best outcomes. I have Messiah, serving humanity with humility, and the shadow attribute is exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed. Most of the people in my collective are healers, and they have a kind of soul contract in which they have agreed to try and make this world a better place. That's that Messiah energy. You've got focus on success as well. Thriving, morning dew girl. And the thing is this is looking like you're ready. And different piles will have different outcomes. Saboteur highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the change it would bring into your life. Shadow attribute is induces self-destructive behaviors or desire to undermine others. This is that self-protective energy. We get to this point in healing where we just don't want anybody else to blow up our world. And so we kind of ward off connection. That will not protect you. It will just keep you isolated. Let people in. You're strong enough, you're well enough. You do not need to fear others because you have become the warrior within. All right, I have money magnet. Man, this is all about money. Money magnet. With the power of determination, I attract profitable opportunities, money, and I pull towards each other. Like clicking magnets, the universe acknowledges my dedication, and so the universe rewards me with fruitful bounty. I'm so sorry I have so much road noise today. I have no idea why. Every now and then I'll have these days where there's a ton of outside noise, and I do use a dampener, but there's going to be like a buzz in the background because of that. I have dreamer. Even during the times that discourage me from carrying on, I will continue to follow my dreams, no matter how difficult. Though the road bumps will set me back, I have determined that giving up is not an option. I will never abandon my dreams. The things that happen to us, don't let them change your core idealistic self. And that has to be a choice after healing. To kind of reclaim the original self, to go back for core self, to re-embrace the dreams about potentially your place in the world and the other people in this world. When we are injured, it's easy to become cynical and jaded, but the people who hurt you are not indicative of all the people in this world. You are your best protector. And then I have beauty. Seeking approval or gazes from others is not important. I seek to define myself in full and not just by my appearance. My beauty is most prominent when I'm living a carefree and happy life, unconcerned with others' approval. Remember, you do not need somebody else to validate you, tell you that you are beautiful, or tell you that you are lovable. When you find life a beautiful experience, others find you attractive as well. Go towards loving life. Go towards looking for the beauty in life. Go towards experiencing life in a joyful manner, and you will become more attractive. Most of this, however, is really about success and focusing on purpose in order to kind of complete a healing journey in which you are living in your purposeful energy. When you're living in your purposeful energy, all that is meant for you comes to you. And does everybody want a romantic partner? No, not necessarily. Not everybody wants that as a focus, but if you're watching this reading, you probably have an interest. So let's go ahead and check the Sun and Moon Tarot to see what your love cards are like coming up. Oh, hey, I keep forgetting to do this. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you like the reading, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. Cards are flying. We have the Prince of Cups in the upright. Well, that's a pleasing offer coming towards you. It's quite frequently the start of something. It can be a surprise as well. The Empress, I'm going to put that in the upright because that is the fertile time of new beginnings, everything having to do with success. That is an abundant energy. That money magnet, focus on success. The only thing that I've got here that you're being advised to look at, because you're doing very, very well, but you might actually focus a little bit too much on the practical trying to protect yourself in the emotional, remember, it's good to be able to connect. And if you like your job, that's wonderful. If you are doing something that you love, then all that is beautiful and wonderful can come to you. When we live in this joyful, celebratory energy, more and more comes to us. Make sure that you're not weeding out things out of fear, that saboteur energy. And the Messiah energy, like you really might be a little too focused on surface right now. Eight of Cups in reverse. Prince of Swords in the upright. That looks like somebody returning. Or a second chance with something. The Eight of Cups in reverse is returning energy to me. The princes and the princesses in this deck are about new beginnings. They're the students of life. They're the ones who begin a new journey. So you've got the Page of Cups, which is about emotions and flow, and sometimes it's an apology, but I don't get that sense here. The Prince of Swords is about new communications. This could be a dating app. Let's go, let's go. I think you've got something coming up. I think not each group is going to have that because everybody's at a different stage. Seven of Cups in reverse. That can be a spell landing if you do any type of magic. That's what that card always means for me. But if you're not a practitioner and you're not into the law of attraction or trying to manifest, what this can be is choices coming into the 3D. Things no longer being up in the air. Something that was once dreamed of becomes reality. Here we go. Let's keep going. We're got a bunch of Libras. I wonder if the card's just going to finish out with that. We'll go 3 times and see what's coming up for pile number 2 in love and romance. What's coming up for pile number 2 in love and romance? Let's go, let's go. All right. 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, somebody's coming back. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. 5 of Pentacles in the upright is that feeling of rejection, being left out in the cold, having no sanctuary, and being deprived. In reverse, it's the opposite of all of that. It is finding sanctuary. It is having an easing of circumstances. It is anxiety becoming peace. It's a very, very good card. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse can be a downturn in fortune, but as often it's about a new fateful cycle beginning. And in fact, with the Death card in the upright, that is a card of rebirth, new beginnings. It can be the card for Scorpios. You do have the Prince of Cups, which is a water sign indicator. It's weird. I kind of don't sense that it's necessarily a Scorpio, though. I think it is, you have to choose to be this phoenix from the ashes. That if you've been on a healing journey for a while, remember, only you can truly open your energetic signature to connection. And we've got a couple of indications over here. Vulnerability, saboteur, that you might be cutting off connection in the past to be self-protective. You do not need to keep people from your life to be protected. You just need to know that you can protect yourself. You can spot red flags now. You don't need to live alone in order to have safety. This is the card. This is marked with luxury. It's the 4 of Cups. And then the Chariot in reverse. That is multiple returning energies. Group number 2, it looks like you are likely going to have a second chance with somebody. The feelings around that may have changed. They may have changed. I'm not sure what's going on with that yet. We're going to get some messages of love card. What's going on for group number 2? Ooh, I just dropped one. I'm going to have to go retrieve it because it's important. Okay. Huh. Dreamer. Dreamer, dreamer, dreamer. Money magnet, beauty. Please don't forget that there is worth in trying to tell the universe what you want out of a relationship. Try not to name a specific person because it's complicated. It has to do with impacting another person's free will. It is really much better to talk about the attributes of the person that you would like. Like, I want somebody who's well-read and intelligent and likes art and is funny and tall and, you know, things like that. Here we go. What's coming up for group number 2? Dreamer. Envision more in your life. Remember, if when you think of the future, all you think of is your career, seeing yourself by yourself, what you will accomplish, what you will do, what you will earn, what you will own, then there's still room for things to come in, but you're not creating the blueprint for, I would like more love in my life. So that's one thing to think about. We have play hard. self-care, denial, addiction, true love. An addiction is affecting this relationship, and I've got multiple cards of somebody coming on back. So codependency is a form of addiction. I know whenever anybody watches a reading from me, they've like got to set a timer. How long until she says the word codependency? Listen, I don't have the devil card here. You're healed. Like if you were codependent, you have done your work. But if you have a twin flame, because I have multiple indications that somebody is returning, like they may have struggled more. Enjoying your life and making sure you're not just working is part of self-care. Do not deny yourself the things that you would give to somebody else. Detach with love to clearly see the truth. If you have somebody in your life who is struggling with addiction, remember, they need to be released until such time as they're in recovery, even if they are your true love. This love is emotional, physical, and unconditional. You can have unconditional love for somebody and realize that they do not have a place in your healthy life if they are still engaging in unhealthy habits. So if you have a twin flame and you've been on a healing journey and they have addiction issues, remember, if they come on back, they need to be fully in recovery, and things might need to wait until such time, because it takes a full year of being sober before somebody in recovery should embark on a relationship. And the longer that the addiction has gone on, the more time they might need to detox, meaning that they need to stay with themselves until they are fully comfortable facing their feelings and processing them. You've done all that work, and here's the thing. I think because you likely were attached to somebody who did not have the best habits, that you've shut out potential connection because you're trying to be protective, because it was a damaging and a hurtful relationship to you in many ways. I think you have something coming up with that. The underlying issues card with the Four of Cups, because in the background, the Four of Cups, in most depictions, there is a cup in the background, and there it is. And that is something unknown to you or something happening in the background. It can also be an underlying issues card. It looks to me as if, I'm going to take this and see if the twin flame cards come out, because the true love card, the self-care play card, what's coming up in love for you is apparently more information on a past relationship that will give you an understanding of where the potential for that stands. I mean, it kind of looks like you've got somebody who needs to complete their own recovery journey. I think you're so healed that you hear that and you go, okay. This does not, it's interesting that you're watching this. This does not seem to be your super duper focus right now. Like you've gotten into that healed energy and you're all into self-empowerment, but you might be self-isolating a little bit too much, not realizing that it is about safety seeking. We have closure, okie dokie. Listen to your intuition. Heartbreak. Take control. Keep the faith. Soulmate. Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing, and sorry about the yelp there. It's a little bit of a tough message. Twin flames are made from the same energy that we are. If you have been reincarnated multiple times, you have more than one twin flame. They're not all going to be romantic. It's just that we split. The energy splits and is sent into multiple bodies and souls. And so you really can have more than one twin flame. The closure with listen to your intuition and heartbreak, it looks like you are healed. It really does. Take control, keep the faith, and soulmate. It looks to me as if, because you have true love and soulmate in two different places, that it may not quite be the time for the person that you've had a past interest in. And it looks like you're being asked to remain receptive to others so that you don't overly focus on one outcome, but that you're not done here. You're not done here. And that it is part of a purposeful path to bring you what is likely your divine counterpart. Let's go ahead and get the Island Wellness cards. Now, is this about a non-romantic twin flame returning? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think this is a romantic twin flame. Let's see. Let's go for the Island Wellness 1 and 2 and 3. And we're also going to get some higher love oracle cards. This is what's coming up. Healing heart, not today, hand of cards, photograph, karmic relationship, the golden mirror, and I want one more on it, ascending. All right, this is a tough energy because what a tough path. In the past, you likely have had one-sided relationships. Self-absorbed narcissist, one-sided relationship. Codependent people are very prone to non-reciprocal relationships. They want to give and give and give and give and give because that's how they think they receive love, rather than understanding that it needs to be given to themselves, by themselves first, so that you understand your true worth. The karmic relationship is fleeting triggers, turmoil, resentment, lessons, letting go, and loving you. The cure for codependency is self-love. It is self-care. It is making sure that you become whole within and have true belief in self. You cannot expect somebody else to love you fully until you love you fully. And that's what love yourself first has a tendency to mean. This is take a chance, risk, being strategic, options, not showing hand in gambling, looking at your photos, missing you, nostalgia, make new memories. But the last card here is transcending obstacles, learning, expansion, new phase, and preparing for union. Here's the thing. I don't think that a long-term pairing is your super focus right now. You're more into the healing journey than you are into the dating journey. You have found out that you are your best pairing first and foremost, and that you're waiting for the worthy to arrive. It does look to me like you're a little bit closed off out of self-protection. It does not look extreme. And what do you have coming up in the future? Well, it looks like sometime in, it looks like July in this. You are likely, and this is a timeless reading, but this is reading as probably the beginning of July. Probably in the beginning of July, you have something that is stirring around a twin flame connection that will give you more clarity on that. I don't think your person's ready yet, but if this is really your pile, as you hear that, you're like, that's okay, I'm not really sure what I want from that any longer. When it comes back, if it's truly worthy of me, I will assess from there. But right now, I'm just grooving on my own energy. I have found self-love, and I do know that only the worthy may enter and remain. And you're getting more and more interest in you, because this is interest in you, this is interest in you. Honest to goodness, I think you just have a hard time going for it. Loss issues, materialism. You focus on work to protect yourself from being hurt in personal connection. Please make sure you have good friendships too. Remember, all relationships, all romantic relationships, if they are going to endure, need to have a good, strong friendship at the base of them, because we need to like each other, to love each other enduringly. So as you work on friendships, as you learn how to have good friendships, good give and take, good reciprocity, that is also training ground for having a truly romantic pairing in which you have all bases covered. Not just the great sex, the great romance, the tremendous chemistry, but the person you really enjoy being around. And we always need exterior friendships within our romantic relationships so that it doesn't have too much pressure on that one relationship. Here we go, 1 and 2 and 3. Oh my goodness, why? This is like it's circular or something. Here we go. 1 and 2. What do we need for pile number 2 and 3? New level of growth. My sense is that your person, patience and progress, sudden progress and change. What I was about to say is my sense is that the person who's coming back to you needs more time, and that you're cool with that. Like you're even cool with the idea of, yeah, we can be kind of like detached friends. You've had enough time to heal. You've had enough time to heal. And so it doesn't really rule your universe in the way it might have in the past. These guys over here, we're going to go ahead and finish out with some fortune cookie cards. What's coming up in love and romance for pile number 2? I love where you are. You're in the last stage of healing. Please allow more friendships. You struggle with self-love a little bit because you're a little bit too hyper-responsible, and you focus on Very oddly, my camera just turned off, which I always hate when that happens because it could mean that I'm on the wrong path. Here's what I was trying to say. The only thing that I've got is that you might focus a little bit too much on your purposeful energy, meaning that having been disappointed by external relationships, you focus way too much on purpose, and that's not living a life in balance. Try to have more fun. That play hard thing, try to have more fun. And try to like open up to friends a little bit more, and try to also envision a future that contains more than just purpose, more than just, not, when I say just, that sounds reductive. But if you want an expanding emotional universe around you, make sure that you're envisioning one. We have intuition, we have luck, everything's about business here. Reinvent yourself, travel, somebody's coming in, commitment, challenges, friendship. I swear that matches exactly what I just said. I never read these paragraphs. Well, sometimes I do on 2 or 3 of them. Otherwise, they have a tendency to not have validity. These keywords have a tendency to focus on a rudimentary sentence. And so your intuition and luck, you're beginning again. There is progress, and it does look as if there is a challenge within a longer term pairing in which it needs to begin as a friendship to allow the other person to complete a healing journey. You'll get word on that. Here's the thing. If this is your pile, there's no urgency for you around this. If anything, I've got this denial, addiction, true love. Having healed potentially from codependency, which is considered a form of addiction, it's actually a form of need-based love. And that's why it is equated to addiction. It doesn't function exactly like an addiction. People who are codependent have trouble functioning without a partner because they don't know their true worth. They feel like they need somebody else to guide them, to help them, they don't have true faith in self. And that's really the kind of the root source of codependency and why it needs to be healed. Because when we don't have true faith in self, occasionally if you hook up with the wrong partner and they have a less than glorious agenda, you can be manipulated and used and abused. That looks like it may have happened to you in the past. This Messiah thing, you really might be focusing just a tiny bit too much on purposeful energy. Life lived in balance is the key to learning all that we're meant to have, learning all that we're meant to do, and going on our soul journey and our evolution journey. Group number 2, you're so close to healed that this is just an affirmation and a confirmation that it's like, yeah, no, you've done the work and now you're seeing the results. Good for you. Vulnerability, you're not allowing yourself to be as vulnerable as to connection because you fear being hurt. You might focus just a little bit too much on work. And then what's coming up in love for you is an explanation around a past connection and an offer of friendship from somebody who is behind you on a healing journey. It may have been a twin flame connection. If it was not, it is somebody from the past returning who wishes to be your friend now. Does it lead to more? I guess wait and see what it is meant to be and whether or not it is truly worthy of you. Remember, that particular person's energy looked like they had true addiction recovery issues. And that if somebody is in recovery from substance use, part of the reason that it is so important to remain alone is, as they are healing, is that their sobriety, their wellness can become dependent on the health of the relationship that they're in. When something goes wrong, which we need to be able to argue, there will be conflict, even with long-term pairings. There is no perfect pairing that never has any strain in it. We are always seeking balance within a love relationship. And so if that person is in a true form of recovery, they need to be the person who is fully in control of their sobriety, of their choices. They need to achieve true self-love before they can be a fit partner for anybody. And you recognize that now because you have gone the full length of your healing journey. The only thing is that you're in that last stage of extreme independence in which you might be a little bit too self-protective. Group number 2, congratulations, you basically arrived and you're getting word on what is going to happen with what appears to have been somebody returning to your life. You may have been involved, or it may not have worked out when you tried to be involved, but it looks like it starts out as a friendship and progresses towards more as that other person continues their healing journey. And again, if this is your pile, when you hear that, you're like, yeah, that's about right. I think I'd want them as a friend right now, because if they're still in that toxic, addictive energy, they're not my worthy partner and they need to be sober. All right, group number 2, thank you so much for joining me. Take care. Be well. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 3, then this is your reading. Hey, this is the In-Between Tarot. We are going to get a predictive spread about what's coming up in romantic relationships and love for you. There may not be much because we are examining self-love, your healing journey, where you are in that, but each pile has had a slightly different outcome. So let's see what yours is going to be like. Hey, before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. If you like the reading, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. Let's go. Okay, what do we got first? Let's go. The notes from the universe: live life to the fullest. Allowing emotional expansion, allowing hope to come back into your life on a healing journey can be one of the most challenging things. And remember, allow change. Allow change. It is one of the easiest ways for things to get better. Living life to the fullest, if people are making offers to you, if they're issuing invitations, don't seek safety and withdraw within. I attract so many trauma survivors, and because I am a trauma survivor, when you have been badly traumatized, it can feel safer to be by yourself, but it's so limiting. Allow more joy to come into your life by allowing expansion and going towards new things. Also receiving them when they come to you. We're going to be checking your archetype cards to see what shadow attributes are present in this healing journey, what your light attributes are as well. Alchemist, transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. Shadow attribute is misuse of power and knowledge that comes through a spiritual practice. The alchemist is someone who can transmute energy. Healers can transmute energy. This is part of the reason that healers end up so traumatized, is we have an adversarial force that essentially identifies us and tries to take us out when we're very vulnerable and young. And we have the power to heal within, and we simply have to go towards a healing journey. It's always longer than people want it to be. This alchemist energy with live life to the fullest is telling me that you're in a very healed place, but that you need to allow more into your life. Victim, prevent you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. I am not laughing because it's funny. Any therapist who ever watches me knows that thing where I laugh around trauma is actually a bad sign. It means that I learned through painful experience to make sure that I laughed rather than showed any vulnerable emotion. So the only reason I'm laughing at that is I totally get it and have lived it as well, which is not allowing more in the live life to the fullest. You've got too many boundaries around what you will allow into your life, likely because you assess everything from a standpoint not of how much fun would that be, but rather how likely is that to lay me low. Nothing will lay you low when you are living in your independent, strong, and powerful energy. Remember that alchemist energy is somebody who can transmute energy. Turn the situation in your favor to experience more love. The shadow attribute is playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, inability to maintain personal boundaries. People who have been traumatized and taken advantage of do need to work on their boundaries. And then a stage in healing is recognition of having been victimized. Understanding, oh my God, this terrible thing happened to me. Some people get stuck there and they quite frankly never leave it. And everything is, hey, it's just like that time this person did this other terrible thing to me. And no, it's just reminding you of that and showing you where the unhealed trauma might lay. So instead of, if you wonder why patterns might be repeating, it is because there is unhealed trauma at the source of it. Here's the thing, I don't think that's where you are. I think that instead of you've learned to be self-protective to exclusion, meaning that you don't allow as much in as you used to because you kind of look at everything first with a microscope to examine it for the ways in which it might be perilous or set you back. It's time to take some risks, is what this is saying. Letting go of urgency, surrender, freedom from time constraints. Remember, the more you hyper-focus on when, now, why isn't it time? What is divine timing and why is it not delivering? That elongates the journey. Surrender is accepting that truly things happen when they're meant to. And if you're agitated or frustrated by that, that is a sign of something to try and heal and try to surrender to the idea that you are not alone in this journey. Something is guiding you, and that if you're alone right now, don't focus on being alone. Focus on what else could I bring into my life to add it, to expand it, to bring it more fullness, to give me more friendships, to give me more experience, to give me more abundance in a life so that I can experience more and more. As you experience more and more love comes to you in many forms. We have present. Time can be tricky. Wow, 2 on time. Time can be tricky. Staying in the moment means not lamenting about things past and not distressing about things to be. Meaning don't be agitated about when, why not now? Rather, what's valuable in the here and the now that I could love, that I could celebrate, that I could embrace. The past and future cannot be controlled. I can only control right here and right now, so I can take peace in surrendering to the present. I have a very slight disagreement with the way that this is worded, because the past, in a way, can be controlled. You can look at the past from a different angle, from a different perspective, to learn new lessons from it. Your relationship to the past will change over and over again throughout the course of a healing journey. For instance, if you have been abused, you might be able to learn the perspective of your abuser, not so that it can make what they did okay, because it never will be okay, but it will help you understand how it was never about you. There's information in the past, and the future will be informed by the healthy choices that you make in the present. So you're actually paving the path for your future by making healthy choices in the here and the now. And all you really can control, the part I agree with, is that the way you process the here and now is something that is active choice. So take a look around, find what is positive, find what you love, find what you can celebrate, and look towards increase in all areas that are positive, and more will come to you. Celebrate today. Don't lament that it has not brought you what you were hoping for in the future. If you celebrate today, then what you're hoping for in the future gets to you more quickly. I have an adventurer. Live life to the fullest in time. I am an adventurous person. I will focus on the journey rather than the destination and open myself to the new opportunities as they come. These are self-love affirmation cards, and you do need to be open to, there could be alteration in my plans, in the things that I'm hoping for. I roll with it. I open myself up to, this is a new experience that perhaps I didn't plan for, but I'm going to be open to it because it's trying to deliver something to me that I need. Everything that comes to us is trying to bring us something that we are then presented with what we will do with it. How will we turn it into a learning experience, into an expanding experience? And sometimes things will be awful, and we do simply have to heal from an experience. Don't be unkind to yourself if you are not always in the everything's beautiful, wonderful, all change is good. Some changes are incredibly painful, but they also pave the path for what happens in the future that is wonderful and joyful and expansive. Nothing stands alone, everything flows together. But it is okay if something in the present has caused you pain. Process that, acknowledge it. Don't try to pretend everything is good, because that's emotional repression, and it causes compounded feelings. Feel your feelings and release them. And then I have yes and no. I am always allowed to say the word no, even to people I love. To say yes at all times may lead to exhaustion and mental fatigue. I can help others, but I must also help myself preserve my energy. Self-preservation is part of good boundaries. Every now and then we simply have to say no. I have a good friend who a couple of weeks ago wanted me to read for her, and I had just decided to sign out for the week. In the past, to try and recharge, in the past I would have said, oh, absolutely, I would have made time for her. And instead I said, can we get together next week? I'm not reading this week. She didn't take it all that well, which kind of informs me as to where she belongs in my life as well. Remember that anybody who is upset with you for setting a boundary is showing you where their respect for you begins and ends. Because if somebody only has respect for you when you're doing what they want, they don't really respect you, they are utilizing you. You need to be able to say no to somebody. Out of chaos comes creation. This is true. Remember, if you've lost everything, it was simply to clear the decks to bring in new things. And we do have those stages in life where everything gets swept away so that new things can be brought in. And people want that to be very rapid. Everything was blown away and then a month later everything came in. And it can take literal years. And try not to push against that. Simply find the value in the journey and the expansion. Security. And then I have, can you hear me? Did you get a listening card over here as well? No. Letting go of urgency. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's like your inner child wants to play more, but you're very focused on protection of self, establishment of security. Because you lost too much, you may overly focus on trying to make sure you don't lose any longer rather than embracing the opportunities of life that are being brought to you. All right, the Tower of the Divine is the deck that I reached for your predictive spread. This is what's coming up for you in romance. What are you working on? Good, strong boundaries, allowing more to come to you, taking some risks, trying to live in the present and not pushing against time constraints. It's okay if you go back and forth a little bit on that. Remember, healing journeys are not a straight line. They go up, they go down, they go around. Sometimes we backslide and sometimes we make great leaps forward. Have patience and be kind with yourself. And when you catch yourself in a negative thought pattern or an old thought pattern, instead of thinking I've undone all the healing work that I did, just understand how normal. If you've had a behavior pattern for years and years, it takes a little while for it to kind of clear your energy field and for you to inhabit the new and healthy energy that you are trying to bring towards you permanently. Be kind to yourself on your journey. Be as kind to yourself as you would be to somebody that you dearly, dearly, dearly love, that you would want to encourage at every single step. Because that's how you should approach your relationship with self. Is kindly, compassionately, and that's not the same thing as not having accountability. When people talk about saying you are enough as you are right now and you are deserving of love, you are. That is not saying I am perfect as I am. We are always developing and trying to reach towards our higher selves to help our souls evolve. But you are enough, and if you are trying, that's going towards expansion. That is evolution. Be kind to yourself, even if you have not reached your destination. The fact that you keep going on the journey makes you so admirable and so strong. Remember, you're a warrior. Keep telling yourself that. I survive, I persevere, I like me, I admire me, I am strong. I have Judgment in reverse, which is about the start of a new karmic cycle. It can't be poor judgment. Two of Cups in the upright. Well, lucky you. We got some pairing coming up. Nine of Cups in reverse, but that can be delayed with wish fulfillment. It can be disappointment, but let's see what's coming out. I have the Five of Swords in reverse. Oh, okay, let's keep going. Page of Cups in the upright. The reason I said that is there's this little bit of like, I don't want to say you've given up on love. Can you hear me? Ten of Cups in the upright, Page of Cups in the upright, Two of Cups in the upright, Star in reverse. Disappointment and hopelessness have, I think during a different part of your journey, you really thought that love should come to me now. And when it didn't, you started to think, well, maybe love's not coming to me ever. Seven of Cups in reverse. This has been in every single one of these draws. For me, this is a card of a spell landing, but it is also about dreams becoming reality. I have the Magician in reverse. And I have the Moon in the upright. Well, that's a weird draw. I'm going to take it with one more because the Moon can be the card for Pisces, but it can be about confusion and things being concealed. It can be natural forces at work in a life as well. You're not powerless ever. Please hear this part. If you have kind of closed down to the idea of love because you don't know how it's going to come to you, remember the universe has a plan for you. There is a plan around this. You do not need to despair of how can I ever meet somebody in this world that will only, because some people don't connect well through dating apps. Some people do not express themselves well through like little texts or like have a horror of somebody sending them like, oh, what a lovely picture of your junk. Keep it to yourself, sir. Like some people don't like that kind of we're here for a reason, let's hook up energy. It takes some, particularly trauma survivors. And if you can't do dating apps because they give you the willies, understand the universe, it gets that part, and you will not have something withheld from you because you cannot utilize the technology of the moment. I do like this though, that have a little bit more adventure in your life. Can you hear me? Can you hear me is very interesting to me because I haven't identified what it is yet. 2 of Cups, 10 of Cups, Page of Cups, you have something coming up. Your past pain. Let's see what your Messages of Love Oracle cards say. You might be a little prone to proactively saying no around connection. Like the very first moment that you meet somebody, you might hone in on them to focus to find the fault so that you can exclude them. Retreat, time alone or in nature will help you recharge. Remember, being alone on a healing journey means that the universe and your guides care enough about you to put you in kind of an intensive care unit. Marriage, this relationship is moving towards a sacred union. Finances, financial challenges are affecting this connection. And balance, one person is giving too much in a relationship. Go slow, take time to get to know each other. This is about security, retreat. Honest to goodness, I think that you have something coming up and it's fairly imminent. I'm not going to get a ton of details with that Moon card in the upright, and the Magician card in reverse is like, I think you see sinister presences sometimes where there aren't any, because you've just got your guard set that tiny little bit too high. Adventurer and present. Allow more to come to your life. Something is coming into your life. You're going to want to go take it really, really slowly, and that's okay. That really is okay. If that person really is for you, they're going to be okay with that pace. If somebody does not have patience with, you know what, I really got put through a shredder and I can't commit full hog yet, but I also don't want to do like, hey, we're casually dating, because that sends up red flags for me. The right person will be willing to take the journey with you. Let's go for your Infinity Oracle cards. But you have something coming up. You genuinely do. The only thing is, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm really not. I'm laughing because I get it. The only thing is that it's going to trigger a few old things around that. You might find yourself wanting to run from connection, even if you've been the chaser in the past. Remember, the runner-chaser dynamic has a tendency to go back and forth. It's a fear of intimacy issue. Runners are people who don't want to be hurt by love and can't let people in and have a fear of intimacy. A lot of the time, chasers, once they heal, go into a runner energy because they're trying to be self-protective. Twin flame. Energy cleanse. Speak your truth. You might have released codependent. Oh my goodness. Ghosted. And I want one more. Meaningful coincidence. Slow and steady. I took the next one because, well, I looked at it and it went with the rest of the reading. If you ended up in separation from a twin flame and it turned out to be a karmic lesson, not all twin flames end up together. Everybody involved has to do their work. If you are ghosted by a twin flame, that is not a measure of your worth. It is a measure of how much healing they had to do. And if you've done your healing, they're still connected to your energy, and they're doing their healing, then they return to your life, potentially within this lifetime for a romantic relationship. You do have something coming into your life with that 2 of Cups energy, Page of Cups energy, 10 of Cups. This can be confusion. This is that energy of feeling powerless in something as well. I'm going to be completely honest, pile number 3. I'm not sure if it's your twin flame coming back or if it's a brand new person and it freaks you out. But you have something coming up, and the adventurer and yes and no. Don't proactively say no to a new connection. If somebody throws off red flags, that's one thing. Trying to make sure that, like, oh, that looks, is that pink? Oh, that's probably red. I'm going to get rid of that person. Be receptive to the idea that new things can come to you and have different results than the old things. But something's coming into your life. It's likely a twin flame. The star in reverse can be a psychic connection. The fives in reverse, which are about a time of change ending. Five of Wands in reverse is the restoration of peace in a life. The Five of Swords in reverse can be a feeling of defeat. We have balance, self-sufficient, which means you're healed from codependency. Joyful times, having more fun is going to help as well. Achievements, you have this wonderful balanced issues. Loss issues, materialism. I want one more. New level of growth. Group number 3, you have new love trying to enter your life. You're very, very healed, but you are self-protective to the point where I think you stopped envisioning connection, because connection in the past, hey, you've got more coming up. You've got more coming up with new potential relationships, potentially a twin flame that is returning. Potentially. That can't hold true for absolutely everybody because it's a general reading. It might be closure with a twin flame and the beginning of a new relationship, but I've got that concealment card around that because we do get tested on our healing journeys, and we can't get all information. When we've had to heal from codependency, the tests that we are given by the universe, we are meant to pass under our own steam. So it is actually a good sign when people who have healed from codependency are getting fewer and fewer details within relationship readings. You've got things that are coming up, and they're coming up, I feel like swiftly. I just feel like swiftly. Letting go of urgency. Surrender and freedom from time constraints. You're so self-protective. That's a hard one. Like, it can be when you've really gotten yourself, like when you've been scalded by love in all its many forms. And then you're finally well, and you're like, oh my God, I feel healed. This is wonderful. This is great. I'm living in my abundant energy. I'm enjoying my life. I like it when I wake up in the morning and I wonder what beautiful things can be brought to me in the course of a day. That's all great, but it's a stage in healing. And what it really is allowing yourself to be receptive to what the universe is trying to bring to you. When you're different, you have different results. The butterfly, relationship evolving into the next phase, healing the inner child and growth. Here we go. The chaser in a codependent relationship, fear of abandonment issues. Cupid's arrow, have faith, love is coming, surprise invitation or meeting, hesitation, and then I like you. Someone likes you, romance is blooming, fun, flirting, and want to date. You have something coming in and it's going to trigger fear. And that is actually, remember, you can observe a feeling without reacting to it and without letting it control your response. Instead, you understand, you acknowledge the feeling, and you decide upon your response. It would be completely normal to be frightened at the idea of love if you have had your heart broken. But the only way to have a different experience is to allow more in. Be adventurous, be present in this moment, greet each day, wondering what it can bring to you. And then, can you hear me? This is still getting to me because it's almost like you're trying to be deaf to the ways that the world is trying to expand for you. Like you just are, and it's not spiteful. Although in a healing journey, sometimes people go through that, I'll show you, I'll be alone forever, neener. And that doesn't do anything to anyone other than you. And your spirit guides love you and want you to have absolutely everything. The divine loves you and wants you to have absolutely everything. You were never hurt because the divine made it happen. We're often hurt because we choose the wrong partners due to our damage that we haven't healed yet. When you're healed, you have different results. Now, it is important to observe the people who come towards you to make sure that they truly belong in your life, and to allow, you have to allow that connection to be able to get more knowledge on somebody. It's great if you're happy by yourself, and nobody ever needs to have a relationship that they don't want to. But if you're watching this particular reading, it's because you're a little bit intrigued by the idea of, okay, well, what is coming up in love? What is going to happen next? And what is happening next is an opportunity to live in your healed energy and experience more. Live life to the fullest. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. No matter what this is, if it's a twin flame returning to your life, potentially so that you can achieve closure on it, that would not mean I will never love again, but rather I survived something that I thought was all defining. Allow new love to come to you, because it really, really looks like it's trying to knock on your door. And that moon card's intriguing me because I very much got a sense of it's coming in quickly, and the moon card can actually mean within a moon cycle as well. Group number 3, you're being advised to drop your energetic guard a little bit and allow more adventure into your life so that you can fully appreciate all of the healed energy you worked so hard to achieve. Don't try to live under a glass bubble to keep yourself safe. More is coming to you, and you will have different results because you are different. Take care. Be well. Welcome back. If you chose pile number 4, then this is your reading. Let's put that number over there. We have the Everyday Witch deck bringing us predictive cards about what's coming up in romance, but we're going to start by checking out where you are in your healing journey, advice on self-love, what's coming up. This is like an all-encompassing romance read to see where you are and what is developing around you in terms of love. Before I get started, hey, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel. If you like this reading, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you want to book me for a private reading, there is a link to my website in the description box down below. Let's go. Let's start with this one. Sleeping Beauty's Dream. Let's find out where this is going. Wow, that one took me a little bit off guard. Relaxation. Okay. Archangel Fanuel, hope, optimism, and new beginnings. This is like a dreams come true energy. Now, it can be being in stasis and only allowing yourself fantasy when it comes to connection. I like this, though. It actually looks like you're living in a really nice healed energy. Nurture yourself first. Remember, self-care is very important. Self-indulgence, self-love, self-admiration, and sometimes self-acceptance with an eye towards accountability can help as well. And what does that mean? It means that you can love yourself without thinking you're perfect. You can love yourself and accept yourself and understand that part of a healing journey and part of self-love is being accountable for things that have happened in the past and improving things. As I'm always sharing, I had a hideous, hideous, hideous childhood, and I learned all kinds of toxic things that made my 20s and the relationship choices I made and the behaviors that I undertook really suspect, and I had to learn new things, but I was dedicated to doing so. And I can either look at my 20s and go, oh my God, I was like Chernobyl in the lives of people that I met. Or I can look at it and say, yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. How was I ever going to know how to do things I had never seen? I instead try to be kind to myself, forgive myself, take accountability for what I did and didn't do, and then also to understand that part of self-love is admiring the fact that I kept going towards more, even though I had no idea how to get it. I was still trying to pursue expansion. If that is you, if you have gone through a long journey of self-discovery, do not dislike the former versions of yourself. Forgive them. Be accountable for whatever mistakes you might have made, not so that you can be self-punishing, but so that you can be ever expanding. I have creation. The flames of destruction will ignite a rebirth. Well, that's not the best energy. We do have a time of transition around us, but also if you have been through one of those experiences where the universe kept sending me signs, I'm talking about me personally here. The universe kept telling me to make changes and I was too fearful and too self-doubting to undertake them until it was a very desperate situation, and quite frankly my life was pretty much in danger. And then I understood that I had to. And even then it took the universe throwing something into my path that would pull the rug out from under everything and blow up my world. And I had to put it back together, and it was very, very difficult. But it was worthwhile. As I put together my existence, my life, my security, it has so much worth and so much value. Please remember that. If everything you valued was stripped away, it was because you were looking for value in exterior sources rather than looking for value within. When you find the value within, everything that you build around you will be truly yours. We have Virgin, maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. The shadow attribute is fear of intimate union. I'm getting that here. The Sleeping Beauty's dream, like I said, it's like you only keep thoughts of romance and love in the fantastical. Dilettante. Delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. And then shadow attribute is pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. I like this for the light attribute, and I'm not getting this. What I'm getting is that the delight you are finding in that superficial energy is you're trying to make that a soul resonant energy. Like if you watch a really good program on TV or read a really good book or have a really good meal, you're like, this is abundance. You're limiting the idea of abundance and keeping love and connection in the land of the less than practical, less than 3D, likely for safety reasons. This Virgin as well is fear of intimate union. And that's what I think it is. There's nothing wrong with loving being single. In fact, that's the energy to try and inhabit. But if you're remaining single because you're afraid of what other people might do to you, that's problematic. Work balance. I am more than my job. My work is important and provides a sense of purpose, but I must create a boundary. I will honor my mental and physical health first. I work to live. I do not live to work. In my collective, I must have every workaholic in the tarot community or something, because this is a repeated energy. And do I have issues with being a workaholic? Oh my gosh, yes. Work-life balance means that in order to exist in our best, most purposeful and abundant energy, we have to have balance in order to enjoy the life that we are being given. Nurture yourself first, relaxation, creation as well. It's almost like they're telling you to become an art student. It's the strangest thing, but it's like you're being asked to pursue a passion, not to be part of a healing. I'm only laughing because, like, I really get this. It's like everything that you do around your healing journey it's because, well, I must do this because I am responsible and I must heal. And therefore, if they're telling me I must take up a passion, should I learn how to throw pots, or should I paint, or should I draw, or what should I do next that is a responsibility that I'm undertaking? Like, the passion isn't there. That's what the dilettante energy is about as well, is try to find that which really lights you up. For many, many years, the way I got through a very, very bad marriage was I was always studying something. It was usually a language or a form of art or furniture refinishing, or I taught myself how to bake bread, or I studied Russian and English history. I was always pursuing something to keep my expanded energy inside. And I loved these things. It is important to have something that you love and have a passion for that is not a person, but it's not an assignment. It's not an assignment for well-being. It's not like taking your vitamins. If you don't feel passion for anything that is in your life right now, keep expanding to find the thing that will light you up, because passion and interest is absolutely part of hope and optimism and new beginnings. Letting go. I choose to be free and will fly towards positive relationships. Words and actions will no longer make me feel lesser than what I truly am, a gift to this world. I choose to embody light and let go. Surrender is the most important energy to inhabit on a healing journey, because we can hear our guidance more easily when we are surrendered. And then this whole, when you're truly healed, what somebody else says or does, you recognize as being about them rather than about you, where they are in a healing journey. It's not about judgment or condemnation, but it's about recognition. If somebody's trying to hurt you or demean you or make you lesser or force you to do something through guilt, that is about something that they're trying to do. It does not have to do with you. And you're very entitled to every boundary. Who am I? I am who I want to be, and thoughts cannot label me as good or bad. What truly defines me is how I respond to these thoughts. I will greet passing thoughts with kindness and understanding. I believe so much in love, kindness, and compassion as truly the only energy that can help heal the world, and I believe in that as being good. But I do know that very dedicated and wonderful people, like, we all have dark impulses. They don't define you. Our choices define us. Our choices define us. Don't think that, like, even really wonderful, kind, compassionate, giving people, they all have their little monsters on a leash too. We all have darker energies. We all have darker impulses. Who are you? You are who you determine you will be in this life. Our life is made of our choices. Our path is made of our choices. Our energy is made of our choices. Choose your emotional direction and choose a loving one for self and for others, and you quite simply cannot go wrong. In terms of what you're trying to heal is you're dutiful in expanding on a healing journey, but some things lack passion, and you keep things in a dream. Like, it's like you're the sleeping beauty's dream. Your emotional expansion is something that I think you keep to the fantastical world, and you go into your own little world in order to live a fuller emotional experience is just part of what that means. If you can find something that truly intrigues you, that truly makes you happy, that truly, again, lights that spark, it will help tremendously. And again, boy, you just don't like to do anything unless it accomplishes something. Work on simply allowing yourself that relaxation, that play, that fun, letting go, and work balance. Like, even your pursuits are about achieving a healing journey. And I can't find even one indication that you even consider relationships right now. But you're watching this reading, so you must. We have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. That can be a fear of failure. It can be blocking out success. Remember, if you won't accept invitations, if somebody flirts with you and you immediately look away, if you are closing down your energetic doors, you are determining your outcome by your reception. And the universe will keep trying, because the universe wants us to have a very full experience. And if you're on the other side of one of those, like, wow, that was just one of the most punishing emotional experiences that I've ever had, I'm going to withdraw into self, because nothing could ever be worth that again. You are over-investing in the idea that the universe has caused your suffering, rather than, wow, you had a lot of compounded pain that desperately needed to heal. That's what caused your suffering. Relationships won't do that to you when you're healed. You can't ever be destroyed if you have truly done the work. Sure, something might sting, but it'll be momentary and you have a good perspective on it. Eight of Wands in the upright is progress, moving forward. It's also a card for conversing, for communicating, and for falling in love. It can also be travel, particularly over water. Let's go. 1 and 2. All right, let's go. Moon in the upright, Magician in reverse, Chariot in the upright, Two of Swords in the upright, Knight of Pentacles in the upright. We're going to keep talking about this. Oh, wow. It's like you... I'm getting the weirdest image. I have the Nine of Wands in reverse, which is like somebody literally fleeing from other people if they start to express interest in them. Like, nothing makes you seize up like an overheated engine, like somebody trying to expand upon a connection. These are two cards of choices. This is being pulled in two different directions, this way, that way. This is blocking out things. This is progress on a journey. And the Nine of Wands is, remember, boundaries always exist. But they particularly, like, you don't need to have your force field set. We've got the Lion, the Strength card in the upright. That can be the card for Leos. It's also overcoming adversity. It's also ruling with compassion. No, we're not leaving it there. Seven of Swords in the upright with the Knight of Cups in the upright. Okay. I'm going to be completely honest here. You have plenty of stuff trying to come to you, plenty of connection, friendship, interest, activities, and invitations, potentially parties, weddings, and like you say no. You're blocking things out. And instead going on this, well, you know what? I'm just going to walk this solo path. I was disappointed and hurt, and so who am I? I am the lone wolf. That is one of the meanings of the Seven of Swords. And it's limiting the experience that you have. And I'm the only thing to hear from this is, please remember that actually is not being healed. There are multiple stages in a healing journey, and they resemble the stages of grief. And one of them can be people get stuck in the victim stage, where they understand that they've been victimized and then nothing's ever fair to them, and they get stuck there. And it's an important part of healing, because in order to heal something, you have to recognize that you're wounded. But if you focus on the wound and focus on the wound and focus on the wound, rather than, well, I've thoroughly examined that wound, how do I heal it? And how do I move past it? And how do I make myself whole again? Because I am not at the whim of fate. I have personal power and personal control, and I've been given this information so that I can take action around it to have a better life. Just like that, there can come the point where you're like, I feel better. Things are good. I have zest for life again. I don't feel like I'm half dead all the time. I don't cry as easily. When you reach a stage in healing where you're just trying to cling to the it doesn't suck anymore energy, that is not being healed. That's plateauing on a healing journey, and there's simply more to be done. And you never, ever, ever have to have romantic relationships that you don't want. You never have to have friendships. You never have to have anything that you don't truly want. But you are being asked by this to please. This is a card of lying to oneself as well, and not trusting in your own personal power. This is personal power. This is choices. This is blocking things out. This is slow and steady progress. And this is not engaging in a battle sometimes. The way you have determined to heal from personal relationships is to not really have them. You keep things in the fantastical area, in the dream area, in the, hey, why would I ever care about having an intimate partner again? They make amazing vibrators type of energy. It's a stage in healing, and it is a limiting energy, and you won't be punished for it or anything, but remember, part of loving yourself is allowing yourself to have more. Hope about the future, optimism about the future, and not fearing new beginnings is part of what's on this table. Again, this is fear of intimate union, and this is about fantasy rather than reality. Try to have a full experience, and you don't have to go sign up for a dating app or somebody's trying to set me up with somebody I have nothing in common with. You don't have to have experiences you don't wish to, but make sure you're not shutting out things seeking safety, because that is just as limiting as remaining in bad relationships for safety. You won't be safe if you're isolated. You will simply be lonely. Acceptance. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah. Marriage. This relationship is moving towards union. Intuition. Longing. Someone is secretly longing for you, and self-care. Clear your energy field and focus on yourself before acting. You have a divine partnership that wants to come to you. Your self-care has stalled in self-protection, is what this particular reading is saying. Allow more to come to you. Relax into the energy of allowing that which has been in the fantastical realm with this Sleeping Beauty's dream to come into the 3D, to be part of your life. You deserve real expansion and love. And as soon as you let go of the need to seek safety over sensation, letting go, you have something, creation, trying to come into your life. And again, seek more passion and interest in things. It's completely normal. It's part of a depressive cycle, frankly, when you don't have enjoyment in things. And that's why it's also, hey, if you're not enjoying any of the things you're doing, be careful. That can be a sign of depression. There's never, ever, ever, ever anything wrong with taking medication for that. If you're in a persistent depressive energy, we live in the modern age, seek medical treatment, but remember you can also mood manage, use meditation and also exercise to increase endorphins. Good luck. You can manage depression, but if it gets out of control and you're constantly, persistently in a darker energy, please seek treatment. That's why it's there. Spiritual protection, fear and anxiety, patience, celebration. Please stop thinking your journey has ended because you feel better. Because I think you do. I think you're like, I have arrived. Nothing sucks any longer. I've managed the self-care. I like me. I think I'm adorable. That is part of self-love. Self-love is also accepting that increase is a good part of abundance. And increase comes to us with people, with experience, with passion. You are being asked to find your passion again. And if that's with another person, yay, because it looks like it wants to come into your life. Soulmate, it really does. Group number 4, are people meant to be alone? There's nothing wrong with being alone. This is almost exclusively a collective of healers. Healers actually are not meant to be alone. They need someone to give them love as well. And so if you're a healer who is living in a self-protective energy, I have no idea why this is the loudest day in creation, but now I've got a chopper overhead. I do use a sound dampener in my editing, but it causes a slight, like, strange electronic whine. So you're going to hear strange background noise, and I apologize for that. But apparently everything in creation is going up and down my street and over the skies ahead. Soulmate, end of a learning phase. Please remember that self-love is accepting that you deserve more as well. Please don't settle for good enough because you don't hurt anymore. And you never, ever, like, we over-focus on romantic relationships. We do. Too often we think they contain our answers. But there is a flip side to that coin in which you think romance has no place. It is a form of love that has validity and exists for a reason and is 100% backed by the divine. It is not a chemical reaction that will fade over time or whatever other things that you may have convinced yourself about love so that you can sit it on a shelf and never experience it in that passionate romantic form again. Yes, loss issues, materialism, new level of growth, competition and challenge, and I want one more on that. Wishful thinking. Oh, unfounded fear also came out. You are looking at other people as a source of pain. More wants to come into your life. What's coming up in romance? If you will allow it, actual real romance, potentially a marriage partner, potentially a soulmate. But you have decided that according to this pile, if this does not describe you, there's no way it's your pile. But you've decided that being by yourself is your best bet to not, like, you really might have struggled with the will to go on. And you're associating being in love with something that hurt you so badly that you wanted to die. That was because it was the wrong person. You're healed, and you will never, ever, ever allow the wrong person to linger